In film school has taught me a lot. It's taught me a thing or two about making films. And before I went to film school, like many people, I researched: should I not? What's the importance of going to film school? Who went to film school? Which successful directors did what? How can I be a successful person pursuing this industry? And I got mixed results. I've made videos of going to film school is not worth it. Going to film school is worth it. 8 months in, if I could go back a year ago, I probably would not go to film school. And that's not to say that I regret going to it. The main thing is, for the cost, I cannot easily justify spending a year, spending that amount of money to myself last year and just basing it off of the experiences that I've had this year. But the more that I think about that question, for someone who is in my shoes, who wants to become a filmmaker and who wants to make things happen, what should you do? I'll be 100% honest with you. Film industry is weird. It's not set up as any other business. It's not set up in a way whereby if you do this, you get this. If you do this, you get this. It's set up in a way where the people in the industry suffered a lot to get to where they are. And it's I suffered, you should suffer type of industry. Or it's a nepotism type of industry where who you know matters the most. You know, the entertainment industry in a way has this ideology of making us believe that the talented make it. But rarely is it that way. I think entertainment in general, including sports, rarely is it that the most talented person gets a reward for their talent. This is an industry that rewards a lot of other things. I think makes makes your job a little bit easier, but it doesn't guarantee anything. And just like that, it's the same thing with education. It makes you knowledgeable, but that doesn't guarantee anything. There's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of luck, there's a lot of nepotism, there's a lot of items that go into making the next best filmmaker. And one of the major things you should have is perseverance and an understanding of how difficult it is to be a filmmaker. You know, the basics are there. I think with the internet now, knowledge is there. There are many books that have been written, but some of our favorite directors and biographies, and we've seen their journeys. And the main thing is, when we see these things, it's like, oh, they've gone through this, so I don't have to. I get to start from somewhere else. But one thing that I've learned is, no, you don't. You get to start from where they started, and you get to go through your journey, and you have to answer the questions of, are you really a filmmaker? Are you really a storyteller? Do you really want this? And that question is not easy. It's not an easy answer because the industry is just not forgiving. It's not an industry for everybody, but it's a very beautiful industry. This is the industry where all the rejects of our society go and find a place to call home and a place to work and a place to do the things that we enjoy. You know, I started this video telling you, is going to film school worth it? For me, if you've never touched a camera, if you've never made a video, if you've never opened an editing suite, if you know nothing about filmmaking, film school is for you. Because a lot of times when you're starting out, especially in the first year of film school or the first few months, depending on the program you get, they're teaching you the basics. They're teaching you ISO, they're teaching you aperture, they're teaching you forgetting the other one, but basically the exposure triangle. Those are the things that they're teaching you. They're teaching you how to take photos, how to tell a story through a frame. If you know all these things, then film school might not be for you, because what's going to happen and what you're looking for is, how do I take this knowledge that I have, the skills that I have, and to tell a story? So if you're in there, it'll feel like you're wasting your time. But ultimately, those questions are only questions you can answer as a filmmaker. How can I tell stories that producers want to make, that studios want to take upon? You see right now how there's a major issue with the studios where they keep recycling the same stories. It's because these people are not convinced that any new stories can work. We've seen them work, but they're not convinced. And that is your job, to convince someone. Because what you have to think about is, with studios, right? Let's say Movies like Oppenheimer, where there's $100 million budget, somebody is making that decision. Somebody is responsible for giving Christopher Nolan $100 million, and that person's job is on the line. And we can look at them and say, these are rich people, great, good for them. But this is reputations on the line, right? And that's filmmaking. And film school cannot teach you that, because if they knew how to make $100 million movie, they wouldn't be there. Let's be honest. They probably won't be teaching in film school if they knew how to make that next big thing. And the thing is, you have to do that. You have to separate yourself. You have to love cinema. You have to love film, and you have to understand what makes a good story. And a lot of it is self-taught. A lot of it is talent. A lot of it is hunger. It's perseverance. It's studying. It's watching. It's doing everything that you can to be the next great filmmaker that people can risk it all behind. So those are the things that I've learned and started to understand for myself as I'm in film school. And I'm like, this knowledge that I'm getting is very valuable, that I'm catching from school, how this 3 act structure, all this information is it's important. But in order to be the next great thing, film school will not help me do that. It will not help me become the filmmaker that I desire to be. But it's a great platform to go get, I would like to say, aggregated information, and to be in a space with fellow filmmakers and fellow people, but also to learn how different people work and how different people do things, and seeing things that I like, things that I don't like, being exposed to different ideas and picking apart certain things. One of the main things that we do is we're very critical of each other. But for me, one of the main things that I've taken out of so far is just the different elements that go into filmmaking and into storytelling and what's important. I used to be impressed when I would watch a lot of YouTube videos pop up, or like Instagram videos, and it's these crazy camera shots of like, wow, man, look at how this thing worked. They took the phone, put it through the water, and they did this cool trick. It's like, it's great for a shot. It's great for a moment, but that's not storytelling. I mean, it's what story are you telling, and how is that shot important? What does that shot review? I mean, what story are we telling as a tool? Because cinematography is a tool for filmmaking. Production design is a tool. Dialogue is a tool. Actors are a tool. Performance is a tool for this package that we create, that we give to an audience, and we allow people for 2 hours to forget their lives and immerse them into this visual creations that we make through film. Film is an art and a science, I like to believe. So in order to answer the question, is film school worth it? To be honest, if you have the money and you will not get into debt, and you can find a very good film program, and I don't know how you define good, then do it. But I wouldn't get into debt to go to film school. I would rather pick up a camera, shoot, learn from it. You learn so much. I've learned so much in the edit room. I've learned so much, man. And one of the beautiful things I like about editing is you get to work on different directors, different projects, and you get to see how people are doing things, and you get to see the mistakes they made, and then you get to learn, so that the next time that you're on set, you don't get to make those mistakes, but you also improve your own storytelling. So film is one of those things where skill-wise, you have to do it to learn it. Knowledge-wise, you have to, I mean, you get to get that aggregated information, but ultimately everything falls on you, and you have to network. You have to do. It's like everything is in your hands in order to succeed as a filmmaker, but that process is a personal choice. So whether you decide to go to film school or not, ultimately it boils down to, can you tell stories that are good enough for people to risk everything on? And I know some people are lucky enough that they're just born into money and they can go and make whatever they want. But for those of us who don't come from that privilege, pick up a camera, let's tell stories, let's do it.